Greetings, Earthlings. Today we're going to be talking about the off-grid solar-powered battery storage system that my friend and I built from scratch. My old system used 2 deep-cycle lead-acid batteries that just weren't working. It was the chemistry of lead-acid batteries just isn't very compatible with solar panels, unfortunately, and it was really desperately needed an upgrade. It was time. So this new system uses 2 6-volt units connected in series to create a 12-volt system with 200 amp hours of total storage capacity. And also the chemistry of these lithium ion phosphate battery cells are way more efficient for solar panels and photovoltaic systems in general. What's great about it too is that it's really small and compact, and so you can transport it anywhere, and you don't have to just do it in van life. You can use it for your tiny home or whatever off-grid system you're working on. So in conclusion, this new system can harness twice as much power and store twice as much energy using half the space of the old system that I had. So it's a win-win-win all around. Hopefully this video inspires some of you to build an off-the-grid system. Try using renewable energy and recycling materials for a more sustainable future. So without wasting any more time in dog years, let's get into how we actually built this solar-powered battery storage system. So here's the old system that was made up of 2 deep cycle lead acid batteries hooked up direct current to this alternator switch that connected to the alternator in my van, making it rechargeable. This system is still a hybrid off-the-grid quote-unquote system, meaning I use solar as the main source of electricity generation, but I still have access to use gasoline in a pinch to charge my batteries, and that's super handy when sunlight is not as readily available, such as in the Pacific Northwest, where I was when I made the upgrade. To do this upgrade, I had access to tools and a hackerspace called Hedron in Portland, Oregon. And I have to mention, my friend Nolan helped me out a lot. They run a super cool community-centered mutual aid group based in Portland, Oregon called Community Power Pods PDX, and I'll link the Instagram in the description. Community Power Pods PDX makes these mobile rechargeable battery pods and loans them or gives them out to communities in need of power, and they've helped diverse communities with everything from powering the equipment for building tiny homes for houseless communities to helping power movement work of indigenous communities on the front lines, effectively helping Native Americans protect their ancestral homelands from greedy developers and extractive industry. So please check them out. They were kind enough to help me, and I'd love it if people would send them your support, especially support in the form of money, because they do amazing and very important work. Check them out at Community Power Pods PDX on Instagram. Link in the description. Alright, so without further delay, let's get into the actual battery overhaul process. Okay, so here we have some lithium ion phosphate cells from batteryhookup.com, a battery management system, or BMS for short, and ammunition boxes to store everything inside of. We'll also need this flat piece of aluminum, which will be sort of a conductor between the lithium ion cells. And we use this crazy guillotine looking thing to cut it up because it was quite thick. And it's just, there's no easy way to cut it. It's just really, really tough to cut through a 1/4 inch of aluminum, I think. Next, we have to drill holes to be able to fit those aluminum pieces onto the lithium ion cells. So we used an industrial drill to make those evenly spaced holes. We did lose a few pieces of aluminum and took us a couple tries to get the holes all evenly spaced out, but here's the finished product. We also marked the positives with very clear red and positive markers and the negatives by testing them out with a voltmeter. It's very important that you don't get your battery cells disoriented because that would just ruin the whole system. We add conductive grease to help improve the flow of electricity between the pieces of aluminum and the lithium ion cells. So then we bolt them down to secure the aluminum, and you'll notice I'm not using gloves in this, and I can't guarantee that you won't get zapped, but play at your own risk. Safety third, I guess. And here we have 4 of the lithium ion cells held together with the aluminum pieces, and this is going to make up 1/4 of our entire battery system, so there's going to be 3 more of these guys. We use this special tape that's heat resistant to wrap around the batteries and keep them nice and snug together. Very carefully place it into the ammo boxes. Don't drop it like I did. This next part is drilling holes into the top of the ammo boxes, or the lids, for the cables coming to and from the battery system to poke out of. The metal is quite thick, so we needed something powerful enough to cut through. Unfortunately, it doesn't do a very clean job, so we made sure to file down the edges nice and smooth. You don't want them cutting your cables. We had to resort to using a step drill bit to get the right size, but once they're drilled and smoothed out, we can go ahead and pull the cables through and start connecting the ground and the positive cables. Next, we can start to add our BMS, and it'll be directly connected to the positive terminals of the battery system, so it can control how much power is coming out and keeping the batteries from giving out too much power or alerting you when there's not enough power coming through. We did have to cover some of the exposed metal with hot glue, and it does require some assembly and soldering, but once that's done, we can start to attach our BMS cable to the connectors that you need to crimp on. You can find these little electrical crimpy things at the electrical section of any hardware store. The BMS comes with this neat little Bluetooth connection device as well, and it's super handy for monitoring your battery system and getting the readings directly onto your phone. We threw in a piece of styrofoam to help secure the system and keep it from rattling around while I'm driving, and she's ready to move. Next, we're ready to start on connecting the 2 separate systems into one with the BMS installed. Using a hydraulic crimper, we attach these terminal heads to the copper wires, and then we connect the 2 6-volt units together to make one 12-volt battery. The small wires you see here are the 2 ends that connect to the BMS, or the battery management system. This allows us to get readings directly to our iPhone through an app that comes with the BMS we installed. She's ready to go into my van, but you also need to name the battery system in the BMS app, and I figured why not christen it in real life as well. One of my followers was kind enough to donate this DC to DC charger, and I greatly appreciate it because it gave me the option to use that direct current from the gas that I burn while running the van, and that's crucial when there's limited sunlight. So here's the final product with all the cables. It's a bit of a mess, but they're all connected to the positive bus terminal and all the negatives to the negative, and it works. The cables run from the batteries to these terminal buses and then to the DC to DC converter, which I rarely have to use because it's twice as efficient with twice as much capacity using half the space. It's a win-win-win. So that's how I updated my battery system. My next video I think is going to be about the solar panel system that I upgraded and how I connected it to this upgraded battery system. Be sure to stay tuned to my channel because I'll be making more content, not just van life stuff. If you want to get in touch with me, you can find me on Instagram, and I just launched a Discord server, and I'll put the link in the description. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.